Hey everybody, back in the shop. This is going to be the beginning of episode 3, but I think I really have about 5 days in this right now, so each one of these videos represents about 2 days of work. Not 2 full days, not 2 8-hour days. It's been, weird here as it is everywhere because of the situation that we're all in. So I don't necessarily get as much work done as I might like to do otherwise, and so I'm in and out and doing other things and cooking and baking and playing video games. Just trying to keep a good, mental outlook on things. But one of the things I did yesterday at the end of the day on my own, without ever mentioning it to you, was that there was some gaps left over in the wings after putting them in, and so I used some green stuff to fill the gaps, and then I used the green primer to cover up the green stuff. And one of the first things I'm going to do today is get some of those other colors back in. So I'm going to jump in on that right away. But I think I'm also going to spend some time focusing on the wings, because one of the problems with doing the wings off of the body is not being able to fully recognize how the colors go together and how they're different, and not getting a full sense of how it all works together. So I want to do that today, which means first thing, blending in the wings, utilizing some of those colors to make areas of this, really mostly the fingers of the wings, blend in better with the rest of the body, because I can see I think I was just not focused on the wings as much as I should have been when I was doing other things, and then doing the kind of leathery part of the wings a little bit different. I haven't entirely figured out what that means, but I know that I want them to be different. And so that's where we're going to start today. Otherwise, I mean, it's looking pretty good. Can you see? Yeah, you can see it, kind of. As far as the front side goes, kind of happy where it is at the moment. I can't say I'm not going to play with the skin a little bit more on some of the highlights, perhaps. But I do want to keep it a little dark. He's Cthulhu. He's supposed to be big and evil and scary, and brightening him up too much and creating too much contrast is going to sort of work against that feel. But the eyes, that may be something else I jump to after the wings. Now once I feel those things are done, I'll give the whole thing another visual pass just to see if there's anything else I want to do. I want to do the base last because I don't expect that I'm going to need to be manipulating it much once I go to the base. And I have been off camera lifting it up, putting it on my lap, flipping it upside down, moving it in different angles in order to get at some of the hard to reach places, claws and things like that. And so I've been worried about having to hold it if I had actual paint on there. And luckily it looks like none of the primer wore off at all. Not that you can see, but I can tell. Well, a little bit, actually. Although I'm not entirely sure if what I'm seeing is paint wearing off or paint from my fingers ending up on the base. But either way, I don't want to mess with it if I don't have to while I'm painting the base. So that's where we are, that's where we're going, and let's get started. Okay, I'm starting out with a violet, just like I did in episode 2. I'm pretty happy with how the green stuff blend ended up. It looks pretty decent. So anyway, the trick here, since there was a fair amount of primer that needed to go, and I can see it pretty distinctly at about a 1/2 inch from the center, so a 1/4 inch in either direction from the connection point. And so I want to focus my colors in that connection point, but allowing it to fade up towards the wing and towards the body, to make a natural progression of the color. And since we are working into a recess or a shadow area there, it's okay if it's a little bit dark down there, because that will just look natural. That'll look like it should look. Still cold in the shop this morning. It's again in the 40s. Supposed to get, I think, into the low 50s today here in western Massachusetts. So that's not great. It's not too bad though. The shop does pick up some of the temperature from the night before, and I think it was in the 30s last night, so I actually don't know how cold it is in here. I don't bring a thermometer in because most of the time I don't want to know. Yeah, one of the things I've been thinking about is incorporating more of this violet, well, really all of the other colors, into the wings, deepening them down and just adding more color. So I'm kind of winging it here. I did not intend for that. It just happened. I like it. All right. Next color. Be right back. All right, we're back to Watercolors Purple 5. So I recently redid my lighting in here, and I may do a video about it soon, but it's all LED and it's all exposed bulbs and very directional, so I'm having a hard time seeing what's going on under there. I even have another light down below shooting up, and it's not quite as helpful as it might otherwise be. Overall, I'm really enjoying the new light, but I think just with this one in particular, so much shade happening, it's a little problematic. Alright, I'm going to change colors and I'll be back. Alright, back to red 5, which is the really dark red from War Colors. If you've been paying attention to what I've been doing, you've probably noticed that I keep coming out into the model itself, and that's because I continually find areas where I feel like there needs to be more color to break up the green, and there's a lot of little recesses around the holes that can use a little bit of extra help. Okay, I think that's all blended in. I got some nice extra color in the skin, on the body, more or less. I could do this all day. So I think I'm gonna bring some of the brown into the wings. I think we're gonna go a little darker with them. And yeah, I think that's what we're gonna do. The red has been sort of making me think about maybe going a little deeper, a little browner. So I'll be changing colors. I'll be right back. All right, so I got the brown 5 in the airbrush, and so now I'm going to try to slowly work my way into all of the recesses, both sort of shallow and deep, to try to bring the whole thing down a little darker. And see what that looks like. I have my fingers crossed. I am doing a little bit overall to change the tint of the fleshy part of the wings. One of the interesting things here is you might think that the other colors I put in there are now wasted because I'm putting those over the top of them. The truth is, I really like the deep shadows because the brown isn't completely covering them up. It's working with them and creating some really interesting shades. So sometimes you get something nice out of something unexpected. Oh yeah. That is looking good. All right, gonna clean the airbrush and I'll be back. I'm gonna start working on the eyes, and I had been putting some of the shadow colors in the general eye recesses, but now I've got, this is Warcolors Red 4, which is a definite red color, but is a little on the darker side, and I'm going to cover the eye And I'm okay with it feathering out past the eye, because this is really kind of a an OSL color. This is going to be the red sort of reaching out beyond. Oh, that's neat. The red reaching out beyond the glow of the eyes. But it also provides a nice contrast to the brighter color that will go on top. Wow, that's neat. Really looks good next to that green and purple and red and and everything. All right, okay. Gonna swap colors. We're gonna go a little bit brighter red, and I'll be back. Okay, now I've got red 3 in here. Now I'm going to try to focus this more closely on the eye itself. I'm sorry if I get in your way, but I gotta do it. All right, I'm gonna have to manhandle this thing to get at the other 2 eyes. I will try to come back with the next steps, but it becomes more fiddly from here, so maybe I will, maybe I won't. We'll see. Okay, here's red 1, and probably just a little taste of this. And I'm going to do 2 or 3 passes in order to get the brightness up, because you can see this is like a almost red-orange, and all of the reds are a little transparent, so even with an airbrush it takes a while to get kind of full potency of the color. So anyway, I just wanted to show you where I was going, and now I gotta go do this off camera. Okay, so next step, I've got a new mix-up. This is essentially that same red 1 mixed with about an equal amount of yellow 1, which is almost white, but with a little hint of yellow to it. And I'm going to try and just get the center of each of the eyes to provide sort of a luminous point. Well, it's looking decent. I don't know. I've got it fairly thick, so it's having some difficulty getting out of the brush. That's not bad. That's not bad. Alright, I'll be back. Alright, I'm going to try to brush in just a little hot spot, utilizing that same light mix of red one and yellow one, but I've mixed in some more yellow one. That's not bad. Not bad. I think I'm going to let that dry. I'm probably going to glaze it with some red to get the red vibrance back. But otherwise, I think it's pretty good. Alright, I'll be back. I decided I'm going to leave the eyes as is for now. I kind of like them. I like the way that red turned out, but I'm going to move to the base, and I'm going to be using Scale Artist Buff. Again, this is the tube acrylic that works really well in the airbrush. And this is just a base coat to kind of stand in for a sandy color, but I am not going to make this bright. This is going to be worked down quite a bit. Okay, I have switched to violet gray, again artist color acrylic tube, and I'm going to just do the rocks a bit, shift their tone away from that of the sand. Okay. New color. Okay, I'm gonna start doing some washes here with, this is Scale Artist color Raw Umber, which is kind of a green-brown. And we'll see how this goes. Get my phone out of there. When I originally started buying the Scale Artist colors to test them out, all I got was colors that I thought I would use with terrain. So a lot of natural. Raw umber, burnt umber, raw sienna, burnt sienna, that kind of stuff. And they were really good for that, but I also realized that I was using them for other things as well. So, I've found them very useful overall. Okay, I'll be back. While I wait for this wash to dry, which probably won't finish until tomorrow, I'm going to put some color on the cyclopean protrusions. This is a turquoise 5 from War Colors, and this is supposed to be one of their opaque colors, but none of the layer colors are particularly opaque, which is perfect because I really want to utilize the black undercoat to keep it dark. And I just want to shift the color, make it a little, it's going to be a little bit brighter, but shift it. Ooh, that was unexpected, but actually it's kind of nice. I'll leave that. In fact, yeah, we'll just add a little bit of that in. This is a pretty saturated color, and I'm not looking for that the full intensity at all on this. I want the general feeling of these things to be black, but not black. Grab a little bit of that color too. Ooh, need to mix up some more. I am not going to leave that bright up there. It's only that bright because there was a lot of the green from the arms. I'll be back. So this has had a chance to dry out overnight. I want to show you something interesting. If you look down here and in a lot of the other crevices, you'll see a sandy-like texture that I had not intended, but I kind of like. That is from the raw umber wash, and I did it so thin that I think it separated out the pigments into their kind of constituent pieces. So you can see, like, it's super dark right here for some reason, and then very, very light in some of the other recesses. And it looks like natural sand, which is very cool. I think in this area I may have actually spread out a little bit of a thin paint, and so this is more what I was expecting it to look like, and it ended up not. But I'm okay with that. I'm actually going to use some burnt umber. This is the Scale Color Artist burnt umber. And I'm going to use that to darken the rocks specifically. And again, I'm going to go very thin, so, you know, there might be some other kind of weird results. I notice here that it actually says what's in it, which is in this one, synthetic iron yellow oxide and synthetic iron oxides. I don't have the other one handy, so I don't know what it says is in that. But yeah, so we're gonna make another wash, and it's going to be thin again. And I'm going to focus initially in the cracks and crevices, but I'm going to go ahead and let it spread out from there. This will darken these rocks up a fair amount. And this will just become almost like a filter on here. But again, you know, with more of the liquid focused in there in the cracks, because I don't want it to go uniformly brown. Just we're darkening it up, and we're not going to do anything that looks like the sort of more sandy area with this. I haven't decided exactly what I'm going to do with that yet, but we'll see after this part's done. And see what feels like should be added. I might actually add a little bit of like maybe like a mossy green or something in there. I don't know yet. Might experiment a little bit. I might actually just add a number of colors. I can kind of get a preview of this. Using the heat gun, to dry a little section of this. It's not too drastic. You can see, like, there's the pre-wash, post-wash. There's not a huge amount of difference there, but I think I'm going to keep going. I'll go around the outer edge and then do the inner rocks, and then I'll decide what to do from there. Sorry about the background noise, but it's really cold in here, so I had to turn on the heating. What I've done now is I've mixed a little bit of, what's it called? Spring green with the burnt umber to create this mossy color. And I had already gone over with a very, very thin wash of the burnt over the sandy areas after doing the rocks, and then tried to spread it out kind of evenly. And now while it's wet, I'm working this green color into it and hoping to get some nice natural spreading of the color, yeah, with the liquid, because it's so liquidy. And I'm mostly focusing on the more sort of gravelly, sandy area, but I am also bringing it into the rocks a little bit as well, just so that there's no defined line between the two. And again, bringing it into the recesses. I am really, really liking this. Although I think I'm going to add a little bit more burnt umber. To knock back some of the more brilliant green. Oh, this is going to take forever to dry. Oh well. I will probably make liberal use of the fan that I've got blowing in the background there on this. Alright, I'm going to put the fan on this and hopefully it'll dry in under an hour. We'll see. It only took about a half hour to get this coat mostly dry, sitting in front of the box fan, or really in between the box fan and the heater. It's still a little wet back here, but we're about to deal with that. So I'm not too concerned. I can help speed up the process just by spreading out the remaining wash some. And oh, there's a little bit more back here. I noticed that sandy the sandy color appeared in the recesses even more after I did this, and I gotta say I'm pleased with it. I'm really happy with that. It adds a nice natural feel to the whole thing, and again, completely unexpected. Did not know that was going to happen. It's a happy little accident. So yeah, and I like the green and the burnt umber together make a really nice, creepy, mossy look for the sandy, rocky area. So I really have a couple of things left now. One is, I think I'm going to do a little bit more work on these things to kind of pick out some of the detail. And the other thing is the water. And I think I'm going to start with the water. So let me get some color mixed up, and I'll be right back. Okay, my starting color here for the water is Scale Artist Prussian Blue. And this might be a little bluer than I want, but we can deal with that after I get this coat on. I chose this one because it is kind of a deep blue with a fair amount of green to it. It's not exactly a blue-green, but the color is at least a bit in that direction. And I might use... Hell, I might use... No, not that color. I might use the raw umber on top of this to give it a more sea green look. What I don't want this to look like is, you know, a tropical beach, a pleasant tropical beach. I want the water to be dark and scary looking. And a tropical blue is not the thing to get me there. Just making sure I didn't miss another area of water on the other side. Alright, it looks good. Like, once you get the color to its natural darkness, it's not too bad. I am still going to add some raw umber over the top of that to make it more scary looking. Okay, be right back. Alright, I got some raw umber in here. Let's add a little green to this brilliant blue. Alright, I don't hate it. Seems fine. Okay. Alright, alright. Moving on. Okay, the next thing I'm going to be doing is some highlighting on the waves. And I'm going to start with Blue Gray 1 from Watercolors. And I'm going to go light to begin with, I hope, because I'm not entirely sure how this is going to look. You know, and I'm going to start with the area that I'm the least worried about, and that's where the water breaks over the rocks. And I specifically am not going with white. White would just be too bright. I definitely want the spray. I want to see the foam, but I don't want it to pop off of there like a beacon. I think this is at least a good color to start with. I don't feel like it's too much. My question now will be, is it going to be too little? And that's okay if it is, because I can always highlight from here if I want to. And then do some really light dry brushing. Okay, well, I didn't do all this. But yeah, again, work my way back with a little light dry brushing to find the peaks. And that's not so much sea spray at that point as it is just glints of light off of the texture of the water. The Watercolors paints are very nice for dry brushing. You can be very subtle with it. It doesn't want to immediately glom onto whatever you're dry brushing. So, and it's always possible to go back and take it off if you work fairly quickly, because it doesn't want to it also doesn't stick immediately. So a lot of fun tricks you can do with the Watercolors paints. The standard line, anyway. I think they call them the layer line. Oh, I'm really liking this. This is very good. Very, very good. As the pigment leaves the brush, and it gets harder and harder to get anything off of it, it actually makes it easier to get, you know, more subtle effects and slowly build it up on areas where you don't want too much without having to worry. Das ist gut. And I can do another pass on this. Just try to get a little brighter right at the edges. Oh, this stuff can be so satisfying sometimes. Definitely focusing on these two swells more than between them. I still want to get these ripples highlighted though, at least a little bit. I like it. Alright, I'm going to do this side on my own. I'll be back. So after I finished spraying these with the Turquoise 5, it was super directional, so I really liked how it was picking out the edges, but only from above. And I thought, well, maybe I should emphasize that in some areas. So I took Turquoise 3 or 2? Turquoise 2, and I've just been doing an edge highlight around the central design, and I'm going to work my way out from there, I think, a little bit, but only on the upper portions, essentially anything that's going to catch light from above, and not all around everything. So, you know, just like this. This is going to take a while. But I like that it makes the design stand out more. This is really hard to do from a distance. I mean, to be fair, it's going to be hard to do no matter what, because I really want this close in. So I may just go ahead and do this off camera so I can reposition things in a way where I can get to it. But before you go, there is... There we go. Whoop. There it is. So there is this done. And I went back and I added a little white just to the tips. Not too much, and very thinly. So really all it was doing is brightening up the gray. It wasn't going fully to white. But I did like how that turned out. So anyway, I'm going to go off and do this little extra bit, and then I'll be back. Okay, in looking over this whole thing, I really want the rocks to be a little darker. So I've taken some transparent black from Watercolors, put it in the airbrush, and I am just going to run it into the crevices, but I think in general the goal is going to be to just knock down the brightness of the rocks a shade, just a tad. By using the transparent black, it allows me to slowly and carefully do this without having to worry too much about accidentally just hosing the thing down with black. You can also add some broader shadows and just generally break up the tone by using it. So this is supposed to be water right here. So I'm going to have to go back and fix that at some point. I like it much more. It's like instant shadows. Sometimes you kind of have a vision in your head of where you want things to go, and it just won't go there, and you're not really sure what to do. And this was one of those times where it just seemed like I wasn't quite reaching my destination, but I feel like I've gotten there, which is very pleasing. Yeah, so I'm just going to go ahead and fix that. Let me take a look. Let's take a look together. I think I'm just going to fix that water, and I'm going to call it done. I think I'm good. I really like it. Again, the largest model, second largest model I've ever worked on. Certainly the largest sort of organic creature. But I am pretty pleased with it. This is the kind of thing you could, you know, make a real meal out of and really zoom in close and go across the whole thing over the course of months if you really wanted to. And yeah, I think that would be pretty cool. But for the amount of time I was able to put into this, I'm really happy with it. So I hope you are also happy with it, and I hope that you have gotten something useful out of these videos, because that's really the point is of sharing what I do, is in the hopes that somebody will see it and maybe extract some nugget of something useful out of what I do. And I do enjoy hearing about when that happens, and some of you have made a point to tell me about that in the comments on YouTube or on Twitter, where you can find me at @DullSpork. I think that's still my handle there. Yeah, feel free to seek me out. Let me know whether or not anything here was useful to you. And I'm going to go ahead and go back and fix this stupid water that I forgot about or didn't notice earlier. See how I had it just ending right there? Didn't even notice that it actually comes all the way up. So yeah, I'm going to go do that. But for you, I am going to end this with some beauty shots of the beastie. And you'll be able to see it in all its glory and all its color. So hang around for that. And thanks a lot for watching, and I will talk to you later. Bye.